Peter Hitchens has had a 20-minute Monday morning slot on Talk Radio with Mike Graham for the better part of a year now. Hitchens is pretty much the only mainstream journalist to have indulged in wrongthink, which is to suggest that the government's so-called coronavirus mitigation measures, the shutdowns, tiers, face masks, all that nonsense, actually don't work. Since it seems pretty clear that they actually don't work, you wouldn't think that was all that controversial a position, but actually it seems that it is. Since Talk Radio got their YouTube channel back from YouTube after that very brief, about 12-hour ban that they received a couple of months ago, it's always seemed to me that they've just gone rather woke. It's all, oh no, we always say you must obey the rules, you must wear face masks, all this. And I've commented on this a couple of times, and people have said, well, I'm not seeing that. Where are you seeing this? Talk Radio's gone woke. Where are you seeing that? Well, yesterday, for the first time, Talk Radio censored Hitchens. They cut out part of his segment. And I have to say, reading the comments after I'd seen what they did, I'm just wondering, are people just blind? It's such an obvious cut they made, and nobody said, from the comments I read, anything about it whatsoever. Anyway, here it is. This was in response to a suggestion from Mike Graham that the restrictions could be lifted in February, and this is part of Hitchens' edited comment, the bit they put out in the videos where they upload segments, not the total live stream.
I noticed that it was reported on Saturday that the powers enabling councils to continue to close down pubs and restaurants have been extended into July now, I think. Yeah. Quietly and without much fuss or announcement. So while I'd be delighted if this turns out to be the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning, or whatever it is, I'm not sure that it will. I think that the map of the next few weeks is still cloudy and unclear.
You did see the cut, right?
I'm not sure that it will. I think that the map of the next...
So here is the 80-second or so clip that Talk Radio doesn't want you to see. They think it's just too dangerous, and which they expunged from the official clip.
While I'd be delighted if this turns out to be the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning, or whatever it is, I'm not sure that it will. There's an awful lot of people in government, it seems to me, who would want to prevent that from happening. And who knows what leaks about new deadly alien viruses will come out in the next few weeks. And I also find that this whole atmosphere being created by the current wave of government propaganda. Look into the eyes of this person. Can you truly say?
Oh, I know. It's quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's quite rude, because say what you like about the British population's attitude towards this, there is no doubt that millions of people have put themselves to a great deal of inconvenience and unpleasantness because they believe that they're doing good to their fellow creatures by staying inside and not going out and not mixing. And to respond to this by a barrage of propaganda saying, watch out or you'll kill this person, seems to me to be just wrong. Or are they just preparing us for the next stage where they'll say, look, you haven't been good enough, you haven't stayed at home enough, you've breathed too hard, or whatever it was. So now we're going to introduce yet more regulations. I think that the map of the next few weeks is still cloudy and unclear.
So in that pretty short clip, what did Peter Hitchens say that was so terrible that Talk Radio felt the need to delete it to protect you from his awful words? What did he actually say? He talked about people in government potentially, for reasons best known to themselves, not wanting an end to the coronavirus restrictions. He also speculated that we might see more leaks about new alien viruses, and this was obviously a slightly parodying way of talking about the mutant viruses we've heard about. He talked about government propaganda. He congratulated the people's tolerance of the restrictions, and he said that it was unfair on the part of the government to respond to that obvious tolerance by saying, oh, you're killing people, it's got to be more and more and more and more. And he signed off in those deleted comments that Talk Radio deleted by saying, are we now going to see, oh, well, you've all not been good enough. This thing is just going to have to Keep on and on until you start being better boys and girls. This is the text that Talk Radio decided was too extreme to risk anyone in the public hearing. They couldn't censor him in the live broadcast, obviously, because it was live, but this is the bit they subsequently deleted. You can pause the video, obviously, if you want to, but it's exactly what you've just heard. I suspect what really freaked out the Talk Radio executives was the suggestion in the first bit there about the government actually not wanting an end to this, with the implication that they're enjoying it, or at least that they're certainly benefiting from it all in some undisclosed way. And the suggestion at the end about the government just looking for an excuse to double down on the persecution, and generally speaking in the mocking tone, parodying the government, saying you'll kill this person or you've breathed too hard, making fun of the government. That is not allowed on this new super woke Talk Radio platform. And if everything is so unquestionably justifiable, why is Hitchens censored when he questions it? It does not compute. But anyway, now that you've absorbed the content, you've heard what he said, and you've seen my written version of his words, have a listen back to the cut. This is called memory holing. This is rewriting the past. Look at the way they did it.
Of the end, or the end of the beginning, or whatever it is, I'm not sure that it will. I think that the map of the next few weeks is still...
Surgically remove the problem and pull the edges together.
I'm not sure that it will. I think that the map of the next...
Talk Radio had not, at least at the time of going to press, responded to my request for comment. I have tweeted out that censored section of the video, and the link is at the top of the description, just above my usual subscribe star link, which you should feel entirely free to chip into if you feel like it. Please either retweet it, or if you don't have Twitter, simply copy the link to whatever other social media you use, or just download the video and then re-upload what will then be your own content to your own media as you see fit. Because if they don't want you to see it, it has to be worth seeing. So please do that. And now Hitchens knows, for the first time, that he can no longer speak freely on Talk Radio. Talk Radio, the home of free speech. Except that we won't actually broadcast it if it hits the government too hard, or if it mocks them. So welcome to the new Soviet Union, or something which is quickly heading in that direction as the government gets ever more confident in its aggression and its ability to rely on the compliance of the public as it flexes its muscles more and more. And the government is ever more able to rely on the self-censorship of what was at least considered to be a form of alternative media. Welcome to all of that.
There's an awful lot of people in government, it seems to me, who would want to prevent that from happening. And I also find that this whole atmosphere being created by the current wave of government propaganda. Look into the eyes of this person. Can you truly say?
Oh, I know. It's quite extraordinary, isn't it?
And to respond to this by a barrage of propaganda saying, watch out or you'll kill this person, it seems to me to be just wrong. Or are they just preparing us for the next stage where they'll say, look, you haven't been good enough, you haven't stayed at home enough, you've breathed too hard, or whatever it was. So now we're going to introduce yet more regulations.